welcome back to your podcast, our podcast, the Popular Side Podcast. And as always, he's Yinka Yusuf.
Hello, people.
And I'm Akin. Yinka, I'm
Yes, boss.
really sad that we're back virtual again.
Yeah, we are. Your dirty December is over. Let me put it
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Yeah, I think I told you when I got back that I was tired and exhausted, but also ready to do it again. You know.
I can imagine. Now, for our people listening, his December wasn't that. It wasn't that.
No.
Let's be fair.
It
to
really
him.
wasn't. I was working.
It was work. It was family stuff. Weddings.
2 weddings.
Two weddings. One in Lagos. One in Ibadan. You did some
non-profit
stuff. You did some good stuff in terms of non-profit in Umuaro.
Thank you.
I always commend you and Tunde for that. Well done.
I appreciate that.
Then also business work. You had a lot of things that you had to commission.
Yes.
Which later on we can talk about on the show. Yeah, definitely.
We can.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So his December wasn't dirty at all.
No.
It's a sprinkle of dirt here and there.
Oh, but no real dirt.
And for the people that know me, you know me.
Yeah, no way. There's no way.
It's white all the way.
There's no way.
Yeah. But it was fun having you around.
I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate it. It was good to be around. I was sick for 1 week in Lagos, though, which was not great, but I pushed through.
Nobody knew you were sick.
I just kept working.
You just kept on working. I just kept working. And the wedding you came for is for a doctor friend of ours, so he could have taken good care of you, but
he was busy. He had a lot on his mind.
I can imagine. Anyway.
All right. So, quick fit check. Finally, I finally have my jersey for Abre Sports, which, to remind our viewers, that is the club that Yinka and I co-own in Ilori, in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So shout out to our chairman, Big Bros Abdul, for getting me right. So I appreciate it.
Eventually.
That's okay. As we used to say in church, you may not come when you want him, but you'll be right there on time.
Absolutely. I'm funny enough. I almost wore the same thing, but just something told me.
No way. You knew I was gonna wear it.
I knew you were gonna wear it. I knew you were gonna wear it. So I said, you know what? Let me go Milan today. Yeah,
that's okay, because we do have to talk about Milan a little bit, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Yinka and I were in studio together our last 2 episodes. I hope everyone has watched it. Yinka, I think our first of the 2, actually, I think both of them might be my favorite episodes that we've done, and that even includes the one with Peter Rufai. I thought the atmosphere was great. I loved our hosts. I thought they did a great job. And we just felt relaxed, and it was fun. Unfortunately, we couldn't get it out to our listeners with the speed that we would have preferred. We ran into some logistical nightmare.
Major one.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
So, but it's fine. So I thought it came out really well. So we've taken some lessons from that, and we will try to recreate some of that magic virtually, which will be tough. So when you notice we're zipping through stuff, that's us trying to recreate that same atmosphere.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right.
And also, as part of learning, I think we'll be getting virtual guests on board too.
I think we should.
Willing, right? Just to spice up things a bit. They say variety is the spice of life.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of people actually frowned on us for calling Enro our favorite fan.
You called him. I told you my brother-in-law will have my head if I let that slide. So that's why I said at best 1A, 1B. And then
Fair
obviously enough. we have other day ones.
We have quite a number of day ones, yeah.
There you
So
go.
we'll see how it goes, right? I think we might need to, once in a while, just spice it up a bit.
All right. Yeah. So happy New Year, everybody, and hope everyone has had a great holiday season. Best wishes for fantastic 2025. We have a lot of growing to do on this platform, so good luck to everybody. Let's get to it. Yinka, you ready?
I'm ready, boss. I'm good. I'm
All
ready.
Right. So we're gonna start with our worthy mentions. Number 1 will be Mo Salah. Seemingly, I say seemingly because Yinka, I'm not sure I get the same message from the interview. Seemingly confirming his Liverpool exit. Let's talk about this. You seem to believe that interview he did confirmed that he was leaving Liverpool. I'm not so sure.
I didn't say anything. Go for it. He did.
No, he said this was his last year. Was being factual on his paper contract. No, it is his last year. Go on.
No. But he said we're quite far when it comes to negotiation, right?
Okay.
So that tells you what he wants is very far, or just is not in the same zip code as what Liverpool is offering. He said it. I didn't.
That doesn't mean that he's not coming back.
So when I heard this, I was shocked. I was expecting a lot of uproar, and I was like, everywhere was quiet. I'm like, am I the only one that saw this interview? Am I the only one that? Because what was the purpose of the interview? Why would he? And the interviewer asked him. He said, "You said this is your last year." That was how the question started. And initially, I thought maybe this is missing in translation. Salah's English is not perfect. Maybe that's not what he's trying to say. But he then said, yes, this is last 6 months. I agree, of my contract. And in terms of renegotiation, we are quite far from what we're asking for. He said that. I didn't. So
all of those could be true. Right? So I negotiate contracts for a living, unfortunately.
Yes.
There's posturing that happens when you get into the negotiation room, right? He wants a big number. So Salah was born in 1992, I think. So that makes him 32. He'll be 33 his next birthday, June 15th, right? So this is his last big contract, right? There may be one-offs, Qatar for a year, Japan for a year, things like that. But he's getting into, the twilight of this whole situation, right? So he wants a big number. But so let's just back our way into a solution. Where could he go? Would he go to another Premier League team? Yes, no.
No.
Okay. I think it should, but he won't, right? So it won't.
Where will he
Why
go
not?
to?
He can go to City. Why can't he go to City? Why can't he go to City? They don't want to pay you. Someone else wants to pay you. It's that simple. So again, that's why I'm saying this is a negotiation. If it wasn't a negotiation, it will go to the highest bidder. This is where he wants to be. He clearly doesn't want to leave. That's my point. I'm being a little facetious, but it's clearly not trying to leave. So Premier League is out, right? Premier League is out. As we will discuss in a few minutes, there's only one viable option in La Liga because the other one is broke. Right? So if he went to, he's not going to Atletico. So if he went to Real Madrid, it's gonna create even more problems than what they have now. Why would they do that? So La Liga is out. Yeah. Right? France is now really a top 5 league. Is it gonna go to PSG? Is it gonna go to this PSG? Not the PSG with Messi. Not the one with so France is out. Who is gonna pay for him in SerieA?
Nobody.
Okay, so SerieA is out.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Bundesliga. Seriously? No.
Out.
So although Bayern could use him, and Bayern has plenty of money. They have plenty of money.
Forget it. He's not going to Bayern either.
So that leaves us with novelty, trickery, gimmicky situations like Saudi.
Saudi is the only situation, bro? Let's be realistic.
But this man has played, as of today, 19 Premier League matches. Today is Sunday, by the way, the 5th of January.
Mm-hmm.
He's played 19 matches. He scored 18 goals and has 13 assists. We think those are Saudi numbers?
So, Akin, like you said, you do negotiation for a living. The man has a Saudi. His agent has a Saudi contract right now. I will be shocked if they don't have a Saudi contract right now.
But it's not ready to go to Saudi.
And that's what he's telling Liverpool, right?
Yeah.
This is what I'm worth. This is what Saudi is willing to pay me. And Liverpool is saying, well, if that's the case, we can do more than this. Go to Saudi. Yeah. So it's now it's a standoff. It depends on who will budge first. Yeah.
Okay.
And if I'm Salah, see, dude, you're African. You're not gonna get all these punditry like these guys when you retire.
No.
You're probably not gonna get any coaching gig, right? Go for the money. That's my advice to him. Go for the Saudi money. If after 3-4 years you're still playing, then go to Turkey. Go Fenerbahce or go get some tax-free money in Turkey. But right now, it will be, well, I'm not him. He might still love Liverpool. Liverpool might budge or they might meet in halfway. I don't know, but frankly, I think it is.
So you think it's gone? You think on May 17 or whatever we will see him plays last for Liverpool?
I think Liverpool will budge.
Okay, because I think
Liverpool will budge. But my point is, I don't know if Salah will be willing to meet them halfway.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
Because right now, what Liverpool is saying is, we can't pay you what you're asking for, because if we pay you, we can't pay Van Dijk, we can't pay Trent.
Trent
right?
is gone.
Which we'll talk about later on, right? Yeah. I think they want to make Trent the sacrificial lamb. Hear me? We'll talk about that later on, right? So I think that's the situation with them, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay, so you're saying Salah comes back or Salah doesn't come back?
I think Salah comes back.
Yeah, me too. All right.
I think Salah comes back.
Yinka, Barcelona were unable to register Danny Olmo in La Liga. This actually blows my mind. You know Barca are my second team. I thought we had left all this behind 2 seasons ago. They made such a big deal of signing Danny Olmo after the Euros. Like, I'm shocked that we got here again. What's your take?
It's actually 2 players. It's not just Danny Olmo. So there's another guy, Paulo Victor. But they had this problem at the beginning of the season. So they actually also wanted to sign Nico Williams. Yeah. And there's been some leaks in the Spanish press around the chats between Nico Williams and Danny Olmo, calling Laporte, was it Laporte or whatever, calling him a liar, right? Because right now, although Barca can go to the Spanish, what they call them, sports council and appeal and
arbitration, whatever.
But the reality is they've not met the requirement to re-register Danny Olmo. The registration they did initially when they bought him was just for 6 months. So what might happen is the contract might be nullified and Danny Olmo might become a free agent. Now,
this January. January.
Okay. So the concern for me then is what happens to the £51 million that they paid for him? I don't know what happens to that.
Nothing. Absolutely. It's not my duty as the selling club to clean your house for you. Wow. So me selling to you is not contingent on your house being clean. You know what I mean? Wow. It's I sold him, you bought him, we're good. Yinka, I'm gonna read something to you real quick. So this is one of these Barcelona fan pages on Facebook. To give you an idea of the unreasonable salaries Barcelona has managed over the last 8 years, which is why they couldn't register Danny Olmo. due to exceeding financial fair play. Now, I don't, you take this with a grain of salt. This is not me. This is somebody online. Umtiti earned 20 million euros, 9 million more than Van Dijk currently earns. Longley earned 16 million euros, 5 million more than Van Dijk currently earns. Braithwaite in 2020 earned 4 million euros, 1 million more than Luis Diaz currently earns. Ferran, I'm guessing Ferran Torres, earns 10 million euros, 3 million more than Cole Palmer. Frankie earned 37 million euros last season, 19 million more than Salah. This season, he earns 19 million euros, 1 million more than Salah. Eric Garcia earns 6 million euros, the same as Alphonso Davies earned 2 seasons ago. And the last one, Ansu Fati earns 14 million euros, 10 million more than Florian Wirtz. So this is a fan page. They went back a couple seasons, to kind of diagnose the problem. But this is kind of how they got here. Okay.
Whoa. So you've just read something. I'm also going to read something, and this is absolutely ridiculous, right? So hear this. So they've actually already appealed, and they've appealed twice, and both appeals have been turned down. So Olmo. So I'm reading this from Guardian, theguardian.com.
Okay. Olmo has a little more legitimate than mine.
Yeah. Olmo has a clause in his contract that allows him to depart unilaterally should the club fail to register him. Barcelona's plan to raise funds involves selling VIP box seats at the developed Camp Nou Stadium, potentially generating 100 million euros.
So, one, great lawyering by Olmo's lawyers. Great work by his agent, because I wouldn't have thought to put that in the contract. But that makes sense, given their recent history.
Exactly. And you know why? It's because they were only able to register both Pau and Olmo till 31st of December.
That's crazy.
So, it only makes sense. I'm not going to get my player to be playing in the feeder team or training with the feeder team. I need to put something in there to cover my player. But impressive for them. Sad for Barca, though.
Yeah, it's really sad. This should not be happening. Anyway, all right. Let's move on. From Barcelona to Real Madrid. So Vini Jr. has done it again. Do you want to tell us what happened the last couple of days, game against Valencia? So first, before we jump into it, I thought it was a great gesture by Valencia, honoring Madrid with the little, what is it, like the framed picture. Apparently, Madrid raised about €1 million for victims of the flood and everything in Valencia when that was happening. So I love when stuff like that happens in football. We put all our differences aside for the humanity of it all. So I thought that was amazing.
I do too.
But now to Vini Jr. Speak. Yeah.
So we'll talk about the game later on. So we're just going to focus on Vini's petulance, as I put it. So sometimes, they were down a goal. Yeah. Sometimes in the second half, he had an incident with the goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper felt kind of, guy, you're trying to cheat. So the goalkeeper approached him, probably said a few choice words to him.
Of course,
and Vini on the other side just sprang up from because he was rolling on the floor before, sprang up and more or less like punched or pushed the goalkeeper by the neck, just at the back of the neck. Yeah. So a scuffle ensued, and the ref yellow carded the two of them, only for VAR to step in and say Vini's might actually be a bit of violent conduct. Yeah. And he went to the monitor and subsequently gave Vini Jr. a red card. And Vini Jr. went off.
Of course he did.
He went off. Rudiger literally had to hug him from him, getting into fisticuffs with the ref. And I'm looking at this guy, I'm like, guy, are you the only one? This is not the first time I'm seeing this kind of image of Vini Jr. And I've said this 1,000,001 times on this podcast. Fantastic footballer. For me, it looks like I don't know him, but a lot of people say the way you are in real life is not the way you are on the pitch. Some people are assholes on the pitch, but in real life, they're nice people. It looked like a complete. I'm sorry, excuse my French, but that's what he looked like. Why would you want to punch the ref? What? Why? And Ancelotti came back and was kind of supporting him, said a few things to say Vini is being targeted, blah, 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 blah. And I'm looking at Ancelotti, I said, I hope you're telling us, we the audience, this, right, in public, just to let him seem as if I'm supporting this guy. But I hope in the dressing room, you're flogging this guy. Because if I'm the coach, you need to be dressing him down. That is not how to behave. That is not the proper way to behave. That is not what a footballer should do. And this is not the first time. People get riled up. Bellingham, you've never seen any incidents like this with Bellingham. You've never seen any incidents like this with Luka Modric, So these are top-notch professionals. Yeah? So, this guy needs to stop. It's becoming ridiculous at this point. You can't continue to play, you rile people up, then you play victim. Some people are crazy. They will go to the extreme and abuse you, racially abuse you. I'm not saying it's right. It is completely wrong. But at times, you incite these people. Are you the only one? You incite everybody. Why always you? You incite everybody. Some people just give it to you. They don't racially abuse you. The sick people amongst everyone will racially abuse you. Then you come and keep shouting, "Oh, I'm this, I'm that." Come on, I'm sick and tired of this guy. Your take, Aki?
I agree. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm very disappointed. It really is one of my favorite players in world football. So Rudiger is a hothead. If Rudiger is the voice of reason, you're doing something wrong. Rudiger is
the one holding you back.
You know what I mean? Rudiger is crazy. So when he's the voice of reason, you've messed up. And for me, I feel like he's conceding the high ground to Mbappe and others still to come, because they will sign more people. And it is a super uber talented player, so it's very disappointing. But
very disappointing.
We said we're gonna move through it quickly, so I'm not gonna overflog it. So let's go.
Let's move on.
So Milan fired their manager, and I don't know if I saw it coming, but they fired Paulo Fonseca. It only been there 6 months, I think.
Roughly.
Yeah. He used to manage, was it Roma before? He used to manage Roma a couple years ago. I believe when he was fired, they were 8th, Yinka, on the table. In a season where we've talked about nobody really wanting to win the league. They were 2nd last year. And let me see, where did we think they were going to finish?
You're checking our predictions.
I'm checking. We both had them 3rd this year. But no, we didn't have them 8th, right? We didn't have them 8th. So maybe I shouldn't be surprised, but I am surprised. I'm a little saddened by it, because I really want SerieA to get back to where they were before. So just want to get your thoughts, briefly on Fonseca, his replacement, Conceição, and do you think that's enough? Because we both like Conceição. It might be a little too defensive sometimes, but it's okay in SerieA. So do we think that's enough to salvage the season?
So Fonseca firing, right? I don't know. I think it's too early. But at the same time, I don't blame the hierarchy for doing this. If you look at the form in the league, in the last 5, 1-2 drew 2, lost 1. They're sitting on 27 points. Napoli, that's on the top, although they played 2 games more, Napoli is sitting on 44. If my math is correct, that's a 17-point gap. Yeah?
It's too much.
17-point gap. Let's even assume the 2 games in and you win. That's 17 minus 6. That's still 11 points off.
Yeah.
That's 11 points off the top. So, yeah, I get it. I don't have a problem with it. But Fonseca is a hothead.
Yeah.
Fonseca is a calm. Fonseca is a hothead. You saw him at Porto with Arsenal,
Yeah.
Liga, and all the but he's
And he
taking
used to
over,
play for Inter. He used to
and
play
he used
for
to play
Inter.
for Inter.
Yeah.
So they played a game. They had Super Copa semi-final, which they won. I think they beat, was it Juve? And now they're playing Inter in the final, I think. And I think these games are played in Saudi Arabia also.
Yeah, it
I don't know
is.
what's going on with that. I think the final is
You know
tomorrow.
what? You
Or
know
or
what's
is it?
going on with that.
I do. So, Conseca's son plays for Juve. Moved from Porto last year. So I think he played his son in that game. It looks messy. I'm not sure Fonseca is a better coach than Fonseca, frankly. But maybe they just needed something. They needed something fresh, something new. I agree. Based on the players that they have, the quality of the players they have, they shouldn't be languishing in eighth, right? Fiorentina, Lazio don't have better squads than Milan. Yeah.
I would agree.
But we'll see what Fonseca can do. But for me, I would have given him a bit more time. But it is what it is. The streets are not smiling these days when it comes to coaching.
It's
And
rough.
everything. It's
And
rough.
I feel like I think you go through these waves where you have a bunch of good, I'm not gonna call them young, but not so old yet, managers. And just a quick example in the Premier League, for example, right? I think everyone said Pep was the best, right? The last several seasons. And then you had Klopp being a very close second. Well, to some people, not so close, but a second. And then, people were beginning to say, hey, Arteta, the last 2 seasons might be the one. Now, I'm not so sure because there's like 3-4 managers that have come in that if you're looking objectively, you can say, oh my God, the future looks really, really good. So I think there'll always be, in my opinion, if you know where to look, more good managers than there are openings.
I agree.
And if you don't do the lazy thing of, oh, what's your record? Or what have you won? If you actually look at impact, and we'll still talk about the games. But again, the reason I continue to like Amorim is the work ethic, having a defined way of playing. Sometimes being stubborn is good, sometimes, and then just going into a situation and not being intimidated by anyone. Andoni Iraola may be my favorite of all of them because this man has no business doing the things he's doing. He's at Bournemouth. You know what I mean?
And they almost fired him.
It would have been terrible because the man.
So goes back to what we're saying, Akin, right? You need to give people time, to really embed and get their ideas into the team. This idea of we want quick wins, quick rewards. It might be a flash in the pan. You need to have an identity and an ideology as a club. That's where you start from. Not just Sean Dyche today, Arteta tomorrow, club the next day, and you're just, what are you doing? They almost fired Iraola, but to your point, see what he's doing at Bournemouth right now. The resources at his disposal are quite, they're tiny.
They sold their best player. They sold their best player,
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway.
Okay. So I think this brings us to the end of our What He Mentions section. We didn't do too badly, 25 minutes. Like 23 minutes. All right, so let's get into it. Our league review and preview. The first one on the agenda, Yinka, is the Roma Derby. I will leave that to you. So talk about it.
So the game actually just finished. Roma won 2-0. Roma won 2-0. The game is not. The importance of the game is more around the fans and and what's surrounding the history of both clubs as against the quality of the players on the pitch. Because right now, the two of them, Lazio is 4th, Roma is 10th, although Roma won today. And I look at the lineup, there's really nobody here that is of note, yeah? On both sides. So the most important player I see here is probably Dybala. The reason why I bring this up is, remember when we did our derbies episode, we ranked this, as one of the top, derbies in the world. The quality of the game is it just looks like two Grade B teams playing. It's quite disappointing. A Napoli-Inter game will be of more importance right now. A Milan-Inter game is of more importance than the Rome derby. And I'm sure Mancini and what's his name, and Totti will be looking and will be shaking their heads right now. That imagine
I'm
when we
shaking
were
my
playing.
head.
Yeah, I'm shaking. This used to be this was like the number one in our days. This was like the main, the top derby, in Italy and in Europe. It's nothing these days. It's just But the game was poor. Roma won 2-0.
The only thing I would add is we just talked about Fonseca getting fired. He got fired after drawing 1-1 with Rome, with Roma. So for whatever that's worth, so Roma contributed to Fonseca losing his job.
Demise. Anyway,
it is what it is.
It is
Yinka,
what it is.
Is City's slump over?
Very good question. Right?
Okay.
So I think they've been aided a bit by the fixture, right?
Okay.
So that Leicester game that they won, was that last week or midweek? They beat Leicester 2-0, right? Where Haaland scored and Savinho scored his first goal.
Yeah.
That kind of gave them, the confidence that, okay, typically City should be hammering Leicester. They struggled to that 2-0 victory, yeah? But that at least put a W on the board for them, right? And it kind of reminded them of, oh, this is who we are, right? This is what we can do, yeah? I remember last week when we were talking, I said, Doku and Savino have not been producing. All of a sudden, Savino has back. It looks a completely different player. But this time around, guess where he's playing from? He's playing from the left, which is where he's never played. He always plays on the right, even while he was at Girona. So right now, Savio is playing on the left, and he has goals and assists. So the second game they played against West Ham, right, he was on fire, right? So I think City is like the typical 3-point shooter in the NBA, right? You've been shooting, you're clanging it. Now you see a couple going, and you're like, "Who? Right? You're out of your funk." So they're not the old City, yeah. They are out of the funk, but are they really gonna then move on to bigger things? And because I look at the West Ham game, West Ham could have scored a couple of goals before City even scored. Right? I'm quite disappointed in Kudus. He had a very poor game. Disappointed in Fulkrug. He had a very poor game. You and I never liked, what's his name? That Brazilian dancer. What's his name? Paqueta. We never liked Paqueta.
No, it's slow. Slow.
Paqueta had a horrible game against City. Yeah. So I think City were lucky with the fixture, the quality of the opposition that came their way for these games, and I think that's what helped them. So are they out of their funk? I want to believe so, but are they gonna, go on to win like 10 or 11 games like they typically do? I'm not sure.
Okay, so at the risk of repeating a lot of the things I've said on this topic over the last few weeks, I will remind people again that a season where one team steamrolls everyone is the exception, not the rule, right? What makes City's dominance so amazing, apart from the fact that it was aided by foreign money and sovereign wealth funds, is that it doesn't happen. It really doesn't. We've seen Premier League seasons where 79 points won the league, 84 points won the league, 83 points won the league. We've seen Man U come from behind, not once, not twice, not 3 times, and win the league. We've seen Arsenal be 6 points behind with 13 games to go or whatever, and catch Man U and win by 6 points.
Yeah.
So I think if people can just divorce their mind from this concept of, one team is going to win 30 in a row, I think then we can have a real conversation. I wasn't worried about City. I said this a million times. The players haven't changed. Phil Foden didn't all of a sudden become terrible. He played terrible, but the quality is still there, right? City are not so fragile and Rodri is not so great that you take him out and everything falls apart. That just doesn't make sense. We've seen a prime Messi. We've seen his team survive without him. We've seen Iniesta's team survive without him. We've seen Marco Senna back in the day. I mean, come on, it would be fine. So for me, yes, the slump is over. Sometimes you have mini slumps.
Yeah.
Before you eventually get it out of your system. So it doesn't mean they will now win and get 3 points the rest of the way, right? Yeah. But it means they will play more like the City we're used to, and then the results will go however the results go, right? Yeah. Sometimes there will be a 1-1 draw. Sometimes they'll blow people away 6-1. But now they're a real team again. They're cohesive. Hopefully they stop chopping and changing the goalkeeper. And so I think City is back. I think the table will start looking different. And that's my take.
So their next 2 games are soft fixtures. They are away to Brentford, away to Ipswich. I will expect them to win both games, right?
The win to Brentford is difficult.
Hear me out. Yeah, I agree, but I'll expect them to win both games.
Okay, that's fair.
So the reason, I agree with what you said, but once again, the Leicester game, they're not, But that West Ham game, that 4-0 flat scoreline or whatever the scoreline eventually was it 4-1 or 5-1? I can't remember.
4-1.
Was 4-1. That scoreline flattered City. Let's be frank. Before City scored, a deflected goal, by the way, that deflated West Ham. West Ham should have scored at least 3 goals. Kudus had at least 3 solid chances. So City's defensive frailty, right, is still there, right? Offensively, they look a lot like themselves. Yeah, to be fair, they do. But defensively, against West Ham, I was shocked though. West Ham should have gotten points from that game. It's just that West Ham themselves and Kudus in particular. Good. And after watching that game, and I'm like, sorry, what's going on with Kudus? Maybe it's a bad game, right? Yeah. But it was very bad, right? Very bad. Paqueta, by the way, let's talk about Paqueta.
Quick one on West Ham before mindful of time. Quick one on West Ham. They shipped 5 against Liverpool. They shipped 5 in 1/2 against Arsenal, and now they shipped 4 against City.
Yeah,
this is not the West Ham of David Moyes. Something is happening, and it shouldn't be happening because they have good enough players. I actually think Bowen is a really, really, really good player. Who is having a pretty good season, by the way. So I don't know what's happening.
Defensively, they are horrible.
Yeah, of course.
They've only 3 teams have conceded more than them. They've conceded 39 goals this season.
That's
and those
crazy.
3 is Wolves at 42, Leicester at 44, and Southampton at 44. So
and is that 18, 19, and 20?
17, 19, and 20.
19 and 20,
right?
Okay.
Their defense is relegation defense, West Ham.
Yeah.
I think that says enough about them.
Okay. So, Yinka, arguably the biggest match in the Premier League happened today on the 5th of January. And that was Liverpool at home at Anfield against their eternal rivals, Manchester United.
Yeah.
Sometime in the second half, a game actually broke out. An actual game. Do you think Liverpool were lucky to beat? To not to lose to Man
against United? Okay.
Yeah.
So, I think they were.
Okay.
I think they were. If you look at the stats, it would suggest Liverpool had, the better chances. They had, they had some near misses and stuff. I get all that. But before I even go into that, let's talk a bit about Amorim, right? I remember last week or so, or 2 weeks, I mentioned that United, their problem is when they are playing against teams that you expect them to beat. They don't know how to balance the play. They don't know how to balance offense and defense yet. For the games that they've played against teams that are supposedly better than them, they've actually played well. If not for 2 set-piece goals, they will have gotten a 0-0 draw against Arsenal, right? They beat who? They beat City.
They beat City.
They beat City. And they almost beat Liverpool today. And they looked like a team. And why is that? Because the mentality was defensive today. Yeah. And they were looking to hit Liverpool on the counter. And before Martinez scored, United actually had chances to score. Although Liverpool too had.
Liverpool had chances too.
Yeah. Both sides actually had chances in the first half. And when Martinez scored, I thought, now, what's going to happen? Liverpool are on the road.
Did you think it scored too early?
No, yes. Yes. Because I knew what will then happen is Liverpool will be like, well, we have to get something, because Liverpool too were being balanced before, but once Martinez scored, they went into attack overdrive and they kept on. And you see what I say about Gakpo, See,
that was unbelievable.
Gakpo was the best player in the Dutch league for seasons before he came to Liverpool January 3 years ago or so. I can't remember.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah. Gakpo is beginning to deliver. Gakpo sat the lights down. He sat him down. Say, guys, sit down. He sat him down, scored a perfect goal, right? Then they got a penalty, which, soft, but I agree. I won't give those kind of penalties, but based on the
handball,
laws.
Right?
Yeah, it was a handball. But based on the rules that we have now, his hand was in an awkward position. I think the proximity rule could have overridden that.
Yes,
the game went on. I think it was close enough. It's not as if, but anyway, penalty, fine. Salah nearly missed that penalty. Onana should be saving that.
Onana almost saved it.
It should be saving that. That ball went just below his fist. Then Man U just decided also, well, we have nothing to lose. We're down 2-1. Right? What's the point? What's the difference between 2-1 and 3-1 or 4-1? Let's just go for it.
That's facts.
And they scored. And frankly, Akin, the last chance of the game fell to Harry Maguire.
Oh my gosh.
I actually thought Xerxes was going to shoot. I was shocked when he pulled it back. And when you pull that kind of ball back, it should be a resting pass, not a hit pass. The ball came into Maguire high. I don't know what happened.
It bubbled against his shin.
Exactly. So that kind of pass is just lay it so that he can smack it. But maybe a striker would have buried that. But Maguire missed that.
That should have been 3-2.
It should have been 3-2. But kudos to United, right?
Yeah.
And I wasn't too surprised. I was surprised, but I wasn't too surprised. They've played better when they're going up against teams that they know these guys are better than us. It is when they now want to open up and play normal football that they just don't know how to yet under Amorim. Over to you.
Yeah. Okay. So you did say this could happen, right? You did, and this point you made, you made it before. So you're not just You're not just saying this now in hindsight. You predicted it. You didn't predict, a draw, a win, or whatever, but you said, hey, United could play well. So a couple observations from me. One, I like their mad kid. Is fearless. I don't know about his game management. Like there was a header, early in the game that I don't even know what he did with it. He twisted his neck or what. It was ridiculous. He sent it back the wrong way. That was ridiculous. But things like that will come. Yeah, you need, that's just a matter of repetitions. You got to do it and do it and do it. So I'm not too worried about that. He's now had like two giant, massive moments in big games for United. So that bodes well and again, this is not partisanship. I want the Premier League to be good and watchable, and I'm interested in fixing United. I will laugh at them until it's fixed, but I'm also interested in what is the fix, right? Who impressed me today, and I can't believe I'm saying this, Bruno Fernandes played like a captain today, especially towards the tail end of the game. My problem with him was always the lack of running, the lack of endeavor, the not putting yourself, like as the British might say, not putting yourself about. He did all that today. There was a particular sequence where he got the ball. There were 4 players around him, and it would not go. It would not let go until it was fouled, in the middle of the park. And for me, that was like real endeavor. That was showing initiative. That was a captain's performance. And this is a guy that I clowned and said, who died and made him captain kind of thing, right? But today, he did the kind of thing I think a captain should be doing. So I'm ready to revise you can't find 4 or 5 real players at United. I think to fix this, I'm ready. Not by much, but I'm ready. So, because you have to fix United in stages. So I want to, I don't want to speak from both sides of my mouth, right? Mm-hmm. So we said this is a 5-year cycle, right? Mm-hmm. But you have to make progress every season, right? No, sorry, not 5 years. We said 5 to 6 transfer windows, not necessarily years. 5 to 6 transfer windows, which could be, if you're active in each transfer window, that could be 2.5 years, right? So I think Onana stays. Yes, there are better goalkeepers than Onana, but surrounded by good players, I think you could do worse than Onana, And if Amorim comes in with a proper goalkeeper coach and, and then the discipline that Amorim brings, I think you can get the best out of him. Save your money. You're not winning anybody's league or Champions League now anyway. I think it's fine. And he had a good game today. And some of the saves he made at the tail end, under a different regime, it doesn't make those saves. So I think when they have better players, he would be a better goalkeeper. So I would keep him. I've changed my mind on Bruno Fernandes. I think it could be your bridge, over the next 2.5 years. But he has to keep playing the way he played, at least in the second half today. He has to keep doing that. I've changed my mind about Garnacho. Before, I was maybe going to keep him just because of his youth, but I liked how he took responsibility today. So it wasn't just youth. He actually really did play well, and he was purposeful and all that. So he stays. The 2 kids stay, Maino and Ahmad. They stay. Maguire has to go. I'm sorry. Because you could say, well, it was a defender, whatever. I'm sorry. Martinez is a defender. Martinez looked over both shoulders before he received that pass. After he received that pass, right? And he knew exactly that goal he scored was intentional. He knew exactly what he was going to do. And it was that was an amazing goal. That's a defender too. I'm sorry, Yinka, if you're a professional footballer, you cannot miss that chance. That chance in that stadium, that late in the game, what it means, you cannot. You stop that ball, you trap it, you pass it to Garnacho behind you, you pass it back where it came from, or you place it on either side of the goalkeeper, and that's a goal. So that is my take. On Liverpool, by the way, I don't think they should panic. They should take this as a good point. Yep. You know what I mean? They have plenty of leeway. No one behind them. looks like they're ready to go on a 20-game unbeaten run. Arsenal, surprisingly, is on a 13-game unbeaten run right now. They're just not winning. You know what I mean? Too many draws. So they now have, Arsenal now have, 7 draws in the league, all of them from winning positions. All of them where they were winning and then they drew. So that's 7 draws. So I think Liverpool, lucky they didn't lose. Nothing to panic about. Still have plenty of room. City will have a lot of work to do to catch them. Arsenal will have a lot of work to do to catch them, and no one else can catch them outside of those two. So that's my take.
Well said. But a couple of players that you missed, right? I think my man of the match for United today was Ugarte. Yeah. He was everywhere. Ugarte was everywhere. Ugarte and Maino was the perfect, I don't want to call it shield for Bruno's inadequacies. And so, although they started 3 at the back, and Dalot too had a very good game. Salah is difficult to keep quiet. He kept Salah quiet, and he actually so this is what I think happened, right? Dalot and Garnacho, when he came in the second half, they actually looked at Liverpool and they're like, you think Trent and Salah are the offensive headache? Well, we'll turn them into a defensive liability for you guys, right?
That's a great point.
Dalot kept on overlapping. That's why Trent didn't finish the game, because he was on the yellow, and Slot was scared that he might get sent off, because Dalot and Garnacho and Bruno, because Bruno actually played off the left before Garnacho came in, and he came into the middle. So having said that, Ugarte for me was he was everywhere. But this is his kind of game, because you are being defensive. When you're now playing, when you're now playing a team that requires you to be a deep line playmaker, does he really have that skill set? I don't think so. But this shielding, blocking, he did it well today. He did it very, very well today. So kudos to them. I agree with you on the Liverpool bit. No need to panic. I don't think anybody's gonna catch them anytime soon. But I was surprised. Man United actually rattled, the back line.
They did. Today. No, they did, especially late in the second half.
Exactly.
They did.
Van Dijk and Konate, maybe it's just because Konate is just coming back. They didn't look as comfortable as they've looked in the past. Yeah.
Did you see Van Dijk yelling at, first tearing them down and then yelling at them? So again, I think some things are broken. One, the contract situation, that there's no way that's helping. Two, Trent cannot defend, and Van Dijk is sick of it. Is tired of it, And to your point earlier, Trent is gone. There's no saving him.
So
it's been gone.
You could see there's a narrative going on. So if you see, what's his name?
Carragher?
Jamie Carragher on our whatever today on the game show. Literally threw Trent under the bus. He threw him under the bus. And this just tells you it's okay. We need to sacrifice somebody out of these 3. Maybe it's Trent that we need to sacrifice, because we have a replacement in the making for him that is just chilling, that wants to play. So maybe we can always get a cheaper right back anyway. Yeah. So maybe it's Trent that is off to Madrid at this point.
And the passing that people in England are so enamored by, they have a real midfield now.
Exactly.
They have a real midfield now. They don't have to bypass. You know what I mean? They don't have to bypass.
To Gakpo today. It was. God.
You know what I was thinking? Well, you saw how Gakpo went to celebrate with McAllister. Lifted him up and everything.
Yeah.
But you know what I was thinking? Speaking of right backs, obviously our team has been playing a defensive midfielder as an auxiliary right back, and I'm like, I think in a pinch, I think McAllister will make a fantastic right back.
He will make it.
I don't know why I'm thinking about. That's true. Because I'm like, it looks like a fullback. He's sized like a fullback. He can run, he can pass, he can defend, he can tackle without getting yellow cards. And I'm like, why are you worried about Trent?
So Trent is gone.
Yeah, so anyway. I think so too.
I think
you want to talk about PSG winning the French Cup?
No, before we move on, I think we missed something around the refs. We're going to talk about the refs.
Oh, yes. Do we have to?
I think we have to.
Okay.
Right?
All right. So let's talk about
it. I think we have to, because a couple of things happened this weekend that it's mind-boggling, right?
Yeah.
And if at any point anybody believes that we're just yapping, that we don't know what we're saying, then you're just being like our good friend. Denial. Yeah, like our good friend Sunday Musa will say, you're being intentionally obtuse. That is exactly what is going on here, right? Because in the morning, the Newcastle Spurs game, Akin, Newcastle equalized where the midfield, I've forgotten the young boy's name, one young guy that plays for Spurs, he was trying to progress the ball from midfield. He had a pass that was handled by Joelinton. His hand was way down. He's not by his side or anything. He handled the ball. Newcastle took over possession. Gordon scores. And I was waiting for VAR to say, no, goal cancelled. There was a foul in the build-up. And the goal was given. The goal was given. And Ange, post-game, he was livid. And I'm like, I can share in how angry you are. You want me to contribute my anger? Because, see, Spurs, yes, they're not my... But when you see poor officiating, I think it's everybody's responsibility to call it out and not mock, because it's Spurs, I'm going to laugh at them. It was stupid. A very, very stupid decision, right? So I thought that was it. Then the Arsenal game came around. Yeah? And we'll talk about Arsenal briefly. The Arsenal game came around. That game was poised to be, for me, I knew from day one, from the get-go, that this was going to be a professional display. Anybody expecting Arsenal to play well in that match, you don't seem to understand the nuance and what happens in the football team. You can't have injuries and people sick.
Sickness,
right? Martinelli and Odegaard didn't start, not because it wasn't a technical decision. They were ill. Both of them were ill. Yeah? So it was going to be a professional game. It was 1-0 to the Arsenal written on the wall all over the game, until Anthony Taylor decided to do the most stupid decision I've seen this season. And I think we've seen a lot. In the Newcastle Spurs game in the afternoon, Joelinton, it wasn't Joelinton. I think it was Kulusevski. Kulusevski barged into Gordon with his shoulder. His nose was bleeding in the penalty box, right? No penalty was given. Not even a foul was given, because it was they said it was accidental. It wasn't really a tackle. He ran into him. It wasn't a tackle. Now you go into a game where it's 50-50. We are both contesting for the ball. We both head-butted each other. And somebody's wriggling on the floor and you give them a penalty. I've been watching football. For those that don't know, I'm going to age myself. I'm almost 45 years old. I've been watching football since I was 5. I have never seen a penalty given for that before. I played football, not professionally, but a lot, competitively. I've never seen a penalty given for that. And I can bet you, till we die, we will never see a penalty again given for that. So when we say Arsenal are referred differently, this is what I'm saying. This is the same Anthony Taylor, Emirates, Liverpool, Arsenal, that there was a supposed push by Kai Havertz on someone. The guy didn't give the free kick until he saw, Arsenal are going to score. Then he blew. The same guy. So if we're keeping log of the things that have gone against Arsenal, and I know I'm ranting, if we're keeping log of things that have gone against Arsenal, right, that you will never see again. This season only, this is the 4th incident, Akin. Number 4, the first one, the Rice sending off against Brighton.
Yeah.
Second one, the Trossard sending off against City. 2 points dropped in both cases. That's 4. Third one, Saliba sending off away to Bournemouth. 3 points dropped. That's 7. Then this one, 2 points dropped. That is 9. No other club has suffered from decisions this season. Show me any other club that has had a decision go against them this much this season. Go ahead, Aki.
Okay, so I think PGMOL hates Arsenal. But I also think PGMOL really, really hates Fulham. Fulham just doesn't, they don't have as many, loud fans on social media as Arsenal do. Because the stuff they did against Fulham
today
in the Ipswich game blew my mind, Yinka. Blew my mind. There was a handball that they didn't call a handball. There was a deliberate foul in the box that they didn't call a deliberate foul in the box. And then eventually the same guy, I can't be bothered to remember any Ipswich players' names. They won't be here next year. The same guy now hacks, the Fulham number 7, and then they eventually give a penalty. So there were 2 penalties for Fulham. There should have been 4, right? And I'm glad for Fulham's sake that they didn't lose that game, but they almost did. They could have.
They almost did.
It would have been just refereeing errors. I think the league doesn't like Marco Silva. That's my opinion. And he's actually cooled down a little bit. He stopped complaining. He used to complain a lot.
Actually, they don't like London clubs.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we talked about this. The referees are not from London.
Because they're not from London.
Yeah.
They're from the north.
Yeah.
They're from Merseyside or from the north. They don't like London clubs. There's this unconscious or conscious bias at this point that is anybody that is denying it. I think you're just being.
It's so obvious. But anyway, I don't want to overdo the referee thing, so I would second everything you said. Anthony Taylor is in this part of the world. What do we call people like that? Younger people might say is white privilege. Some might say is white mediocrity.
Yeah.
But the man is wrong a lot, but he referees with so much confidence, which is amazing. But
when is it fake it till you make it?
Yeah, because his level of mediocrity is amazing to me.
It's amazing.
But it's so performative. It's so self-assured. The finger wagging, it's amazing.
It's all of them.
Oh, but he's the worst. He's the worst.
He's the worst, exactly.
Yeah.
Because today, Mike, what's his name? The Liverpool, the young guy, the Liverpool United ref. Forgotten his name.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Keep going.
There's this particular point where United's player, right, Højlund, after the free kick was given, the guy literally kicks the ball away, right? And Michael Oliver was like, yeah. I'm like, sorry, hold on. Whatever happened to the people that have suffered, Arsenal, that have suffered, you gave them 2 red cards.
That's what we used to do. That's what we used to do. We don't do that anymore. That's what we used to do. That was 16 and 17 games ago. We moved on. Right? So new year, new us.
Let's move on to what a pity Dembele and his goal.
Okay. Yeah. PSG win why are we talking about the French Cup? But go on.
Because your boy, what a pity Dembele, scored in the 90th minute or 93rd minute. Injury time winner. That's why we're talking about it. So today, he's not what a pity Dembele is.
Good Dembele came out.
Good Dembele came out, right? So kudos to him. That's I only wanted to. It's because of you and your hatred for my guy. My guy. That's why I decided.
You can't stand him. Don't do that. You can't stand him.
No. But he has one thing. I told you, and I mentioned this last week.
Yeah,
He's one of the few players that is both-legged. I don't know which leg he uses. Is it left or right? I don't. And I like that.
And he can do things at pace with a lot of speed.
Exactly.
No, there's a lot of talent there. There's a lot of talent.
It's just the consistency that's a problem. Anyway, let's move on.
All right, so there's Tuesday. I think Tuesday, Wednesday. There's Carabao Cup matches coming up, and then the week after that, and the new week after that, there's FA Cup matches coming up. So let's talk about that briefly. Which ones interest you? The Carabao is down to the last four, right?
Yep.
Last four. Okay.
Yeah. So we have Arsenal, Newcastle, then Liverpool, Spurs. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and Arsenal, Newcastle is at the Emirates.
No, it's 2 legs. So it's 2 legs.
The first leg is at the Emirates.
First leg is at the Emirates. Yeah.
At the Emirates,
yeah.
And then I'm not sure where the first leg of the other matchup.
It's at Spurs. It has the
Spurs. Okay.
Yeah.
At the toilet bowl. Yes.
Yeah, the toilet bowl. So Newcastle are they're in form. They're riding a serious wave of form right now, and unfortunately, Arsenal they're okay, right? I'm talking about Arsenal briefly. The fact that I looked at that Brighton game, I said it. I thought it was going to be a professional 1-0 to the Arsenal game, even before the whistle went. I knew it. You can't have that kind of situation that you have where players are literally on the bench because they are not starting, but they're on the bench because the other option was to bring in a teenager from the whatever to be on the bench. Yeah. Ethan Nwaneri that came on board is injured also now. He has a muscle injury. So Arsenal they spread thin. If I were to be them, right, I will be going in this January transfer window and doing what I have to do urgently. Yeah. I read somewhere that they can make loan deals in the Premier League right now because they have already 2 loan deals or something like that. I don't know how true this is. And whatever loan deal they will have to make will have to be European.
But there's no... Oh, I see. Because which players do they have?
Neto and what's his name? Sterling.
That's Neto coming in.
Yeah, Neto coming in. Sterling.
Who else?
Is also on loan.
Sterling. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sterling is also on loan. So I don't know how true this is, but that's what everyone seems to be saying. We'll talk about transfer rumors later on. So that game, I think, is going to be tricky. I actually see us now crashing out of the Carabao Cup. I'm sorry, right? And it's not because of it's not because Newcastle is a better side. It's just because right now things are just too thin. Yeah. And Arsenal after this, the next game is at home again to Manchester United in the FA Cup on Saturday.
In the FA Cup,
exactly. Yeah. So fingers crossed.
So I would disagree with you. So this is what I think, and this is typical of Arsenal fans. Even though you are not a typical Arsenal fan, but hear me out. I think Arsenal fans are finding it difficult to understand the level that their team has now arrived at, right? This is the level that Arsenal is at. Their best player is out. Their next best player could only give them 30 ineffective minutes. Trossard, nobody told us whether he's sick or not. He played 90 minutes, but he played he had as much impact as you and me.
He had a horrible game.
On the game, right? Martinelli.
Something tells me he was ill too.
He was sick too.
Yep.
I will forever give Martinelli the credit because he worked hard for the 45 minutes he played, but he didn't get anything done. You could tell he was out of breath. There was something was going on.
Yes.
Nobody had a great game. Jesus, I don't think Jesus was sick because he ran really well and he closed down and did all that. Nwaneri was good, but he started giving the ball away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there were 2 straight times that he gave the ball away, to the point where when he didn't come back in the second half, I thought that was why. So I say all that to say, we still needed Brighton, and Brighton are good. Brighton had like 6 skilled, quick, fast players who probably in a pinch would walk into the Arsenal team.
Yep.
And yet, it was a 1-1, and they needed a highly controversial penalty to get the 1. That's how good Arsenal have become.
Yeah.
So Newcastle are in form, but they're not better than Arsenal.
Yeah. I see. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm just right now looking at the context. Newcastle don't have any player injured. They're fine. They are in form, right? If we're to be full team, I can trust me, right? It's going to be a good game. Arsenal will probably knock them out. Yeah. But knowing what I know, and knowing the Arsenal fan, and knowing what's going to happen if Arsenal get knocked out of the Carabao and get knocked out of the FA Cup this week, right? You thought they were shouting at Arteta out before, you will be shocked what will happen. And this is why I'm saying context matters. Yeah? Context matters. So even if Kai Havertz comes back and plays next week, he's not fit. The guy couldn't even travel. He couldn't leave his house. You know? So Sterling is injured, Nwaneri is injured, Saka is injured. Yeah? All your right backs, okay, so this guy will be back. What's his name?
Timber
will be back. I know it's going to be a good game, right? But I'm just saying it's going to be tougher. It's going to be a much more difficult game, right now, than it should be for us now because of the situation that's going on. But fingers crossed, it's a 2-legged game. It's 1-legged, and the other leg is in 2 weeks' time or so, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, those are two good games. And Spurs Liverpool will switch the squad up again. Spurs, you think Arsenal have it bad, Spurs have it worse, right? Their injuries is way worse than Arsenal's. Yeah. I don't know how much Liverpool will tweak the team, but either way, Liverpool will still put together a decent squad that can compete.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be Arsenal Liverpool at Wembley. That's my prediction for the Carabao bit. I think Arsenal.
But so you don't think Arsenal will crash out against Newcastle?
No. So personally, I don't think so, right? But I'm telling you that it's going to be a tougher game, and there's that possibility is heightened because of the issues that they have, right? And I'm saying, knowing your fan base, if that should happen, nobody will put all this current situation into context. They will just be like, no, we should be winning something. And I'm like, you can't. Well, ideally, maybe you should plan for stuff like this, but this is extreme. It is.
Yeah.
Frankly.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go to our league predictions.
Okay, so I'm gonna try and move us along. So let's start with France. Yinka, you had it PSG, Marseille, Monaco, and Lyon. Those were your top 4.
Okay.
I had PSG, Monaco, Marseille, Lyon. So you tell us what the current table looks like.
So it's PSG, Marseille, Monaco, Lille.
Yeah. So
So
your top 3 were good.
I could say Lyon also because they're on the same points with Lille. It's just goal difference. It's just goal difference.
You're closer. You're closer. So I think you're closer. So I had PSG, Monaco, Marseille, Lyon. You had PSG, Marseille, Monaco, Lyon. So you win that one.
Yeah, for now.
All right. I know, right? So let's go to SerieA. Okay. You had Inter, Juve, Milan, Lazio. I had Inter, Juve, Milan, Napoli. We're way off on this one.
Way off. But it's not our fault. Any of the people you mentioned are still. Everybody's in contention right now.
Yeah.
So Napoli are top with 44. Then Atalanta with 41. They've played a game less. Inter on 40. They've played 2 games less. Then Lazio 35. Juve 32. They played a game less. So yeah.
So
it's
again, technically you're closer. You're closer because you had Lazio. So we give it to you. Yeah, you had Lazio. Yeah, well, we both had. Actually, are you closer? You didn't have Napoli, so no, I'm closer because you didn't have Napoli.
What did I have again?
You had Inter, Juve, Milan, Lazio.
Okay.
I had Inter, Juve, Milan, Napoli. So I win.
Okay, so you're close. And frankly, it says a lot about Gasperini and Atalanta. We both didn't have them anywhere.
We didn't have them in the top 4.
And they're in top 2 right now.
They're practically top of the league.
In fact, they're practically top of the league.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, so let's go to the Bundesliga. You had Bayern, Leverkusen, RB Leipzig, and Dortmund. I had Bayern, Leverkusen, Dortmund, and Stuttgart. What do we have?
So 1 is Bayern, 2 is Leverkusen, 3 is Frankfurt, and 4 is Leipzig.
Okay, so you're closer because none of us had Frankfurt.
Yeah.
Neither of us rather had Frankfurt, and then you had Leipzig. I didn't have Leipzig.
Yeah.
All right. So, let's go to La Liga.
Okay.
This one is very interesting because you had Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico, and Sociedad.
Okay.
I have shame because of where I put Valencia and where I know they are right now. But let me tell you. But my top 3 is pretty good. It's my number 4 that I have shame about. So I have Real Madrid, Atletico, Barcelona, and Valencia.
You should be flogged for this.
I know.
For our listeners, just so we get it, Valencia are languishing in 19th.
19th? Oh my God.
They are in relegation battle. Valencia, that were leading 1-0, Real Madrid got sent off, and Madrid beat them with 10 men. That's in Valencia.
Terrible. They look good when we make this prediction. They look good in preseason.
They look good first half yesterday or day before yesterday. They look good until they stop looking good.
Yeah, but my top 3. So tell us the top 4 right now.
So it's Madrid, Atletico, Barca, and Bilbao. Actually, we can say Madrid, Atletico rather, are technically top of the league because they've played a game less and they are 2 points behind Madrid. But Madrid is on top.
Yeah.
Madrid is on top. Right
so our top 3 are good. I have the exact top 3. You have Barca and Atleti switch. So but it's also not. Valencia is terrible. It's terrible. Where's Sociedad, by the way? Where's Sociedad?
They're 7th.
Okay, better than 19th.
Better than 19th.
And then finally, in the Premier League, you had City, Arsenal, Liverpool, and Aston Villa. And I had Arsenal, City, Liverpool, Aston Villa.
Okay, so we're both
off.
All off, right? It's Liverpool, Arsenal, Forest, and Chelsea right now. Yeah, nobody saw Forest coming. Forest have won 5 in a row, by the way.
They've won 5 in a row. They're not conceding goals.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me.
So in terms of the form table, Newcastle have also won 5 in a row.
Yeah.
Right now. So those are the teams in form right now. They're in serious form. Yeah.
You know the funny thing, we talked about Forest last season.
Yeah.
And I talked about those wingers that they had, Hudson Odoi on one end, Gibbs White. No, Gibbs White too, right? Gibbs White is Forest, right? Gibbs White. I actually
play him through the middle right now.
They're playing through the middle.
Yeah.
But I really like Gibbs White. I'm like, I think is probably the one player on Forest that can start for any team in the league today because of his versatility.
Yeah, I agree. I'll give some flowers too to Olaino.
Olaino is a fantastic right back.
Olaino is having a very good season. Very good season. Yeah.
Yes. But Gibbs White could, in my opinion, he could, it reminds me not because they're similar, but that's how I feel about Mbeumo. I think Mbeumo could play for anyone right now, and I think Gibbs White is more skilled. I think he could play that number 10. He could play the 8s. He could play left or right. So anyway, there's many reasons that they're doing well. People will focus on Wood and the goals, but I think the coaching is fantastic. And I think the construction of that team, and they didn't start this season. We were talking about them last season. Getting those guys on loan, getting those transfers done. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, they do. Give it to them. Talking about Mbeumo is just 25. It looks 30.
I'm shocked. I thought it was 29.
It's 25.
Oh wow! I didn't know it was that young. I didn't know it
was that young also.
Anyway. Yeah, okay. All right, so Yinka, let's talk about a transfer window real quick. Are there any deals you want to talk about that have already been confirmed?
I think just a couple. So you remember Ben Godfrey at Everton? Ben Godfrey was I think he moved to Atlanta at the beginning of the season. So he's back at home to Ipswich now on a 6-month loan. Which I think
Ipswich could use him. They could use him.
Exactly. Ipswich could use him. Spurs are looking for a goalkeeper. They bought one 21-year-old Czech goalkeeper. His name is Antonin Kinski. Ask me how I know this, because people have gone to look for his compilation, and he's another Onana in the making. Let me just kind of put it that way. And they're like, out of all the goalkeepers available, that Spurs could have done better. But he's 21 years old. 21-year-old goalkeepers are prone to error. I mean, and they can grow up to be amazing goalkeepers. So those are the confirmed deals that are worth mentioning. Also, our Nigerian striker Umar Sadiq that was associated 6 months loan to Valencia. They could use a decent striker. I like him. He's still raw. There's something there.
But how long can you stay raw for? That's my problem. Because he's not a kid, He's now been in this league several seasons now.
He's 27 years old on paper.
Yeah, he's not a kid.
Yeah, he's not a kid. He's not a kid.
So it's probably 30. But let's move on.
So when he played, I think it was Girona, or I can't remember where he played for before moving to Sociedad. He looked decent. Yeah, he looked decent. But then he got to Sociedad, injuries. He had an ACL or so. Then some other things happened. He didn't play much. So I hope he gets game time in Valencia. There's something there. There's. Yeah. So those are the confirmed deals. And in terms of the rumors, there are quite a number flying around. We talked about Trent earlier on. Trent is most likely going to Madrid at the end of the season. I don't think it's going to happen this January. I think Madrid are not willing to put up any money for him. They'll probably want to get him cheaper, right? I think his contract ends. He has 18 months left on his contract, not 6 months, is it? I'm not too sure.
No. This is it.
This is it.
Salah. This is it. Salah, Van Dijk.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So is going to Madrid for free at the end of the season. Yeah. That's what I think will happen. Trent's one of the rumors. Danny Olmo, because of what we talked about earlier on Barca and the deregistration, Danny Olmo is free, and I understand City are looking at him. Yeah.
Huh. As a backup to Haaland?
To Gundogan.
Well, oh, sorry. I was thinking Kolo Muani. Sorry.
No. Danny Olmo. I'll get to Kolo Muani shortly. So Danny Olmo, City are looking at him as a backup to KDB, the midfield, more or less.
It makes sense.
The attacking side of the midfield. which makes perfect sense. Then Kolo Muani, the rumor around Kolo Muani is actually to Arsenal. Yeah. Kolo Muani is not been getting decent game time at PSG. And we mentioned earlier on that Arsenal, it seems the loans that they will be able to do will probably be, international players or European players rather than Premier League players. If you're getting a Premier League player, you have to outrightly buy. Yeah. So Arsenal, the rumors flying around right now are around a couple of attackers and wingers. Kolo Muani is one of them. Takefusa Kubo, Japanese international associated, is another. Alvaro Romero at Las Palmas Palmeiras also. I can't remember. One short Spanish player like that. That's another.
Yeah, defender.
No. It's a winger slash cam. Yeah, the winger slash cam. No defender or midfielder has been linked to us now. It's been attackers all through. Then obviously the Kudus, Cunha. In fact, there were rumors that Arsenal had agreed terms with Cunha, and it was just for them to see how much they could give Wolves to prime away from Wolves. Then there's Evan Ferguson at Brighton.
Who's still injured. We're still
injured. Then there's also Nico Williams. Based on what is happening, he can't go to Barca. So someone said that
and it has a release clause. So just go pay the release clause and you got the player.
Barking, that's the problem, right? The way Atletico Bilbao is. Atletico Bilbao don't buy players. They groom players from their region, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of transfer fees, they don't pay any club that much. They just pay the players. So Nico Williams is on a fantastic salary at Bilbao right now. Can he earn that same salary at Arsenal after Arsenal has paid £45 million based on Piane's rules?
Has the money.
Get me out.
Arsenal has the money. Yeah, go on.
The fact that you have the money, Piane's rules is two completely different things. Newcastle have the money. Why do you think they are saying we can't pay Isak what we want to pay him? Why do you think Isak is saying I'm not signing a new contract? It's because they can't pay him the money because of the Piane's rules, right? So yes, Arsenal have the money. Yes, Newcastle have the money. The Piane's rules are limiting what clubs are willing to do. Go ahead, Akin.
So what I was gonna say is Arsenal has had several outgoings and not that many incomings.
Okay.
Right? That's why I said they have the money. Not just because they are billionaire owners.
Yeah.
So they got some money for ESR, right? They got his wages off of the thing. Who is the other guy that went to Fulham? They got him out. Was a loan, but they're not paying. Yeah, but they're not paying his wages. Right? They're not paying his wages.
Yeah.
So you may need to take some pain, right? And that pain, if Nico Williams is coming, it may mean that Trossard leaves or Martinelli leaves. That's the pain. You have to take it. But guess what? You got Nwaneri, waiting in the wings, So that's how I see it. So I think this is doable. So even if the guy's on 400,000, you can afford it.
So I hear you and I agree with you. But remember, the goalkeeper, Raya's contract kicked in this year. He was on loan before, right?
Yes.
So that kicked
27
in
million.
Year.
27 million. Yeah.
So that kicked in this year. So yeah, I'm sure they have a kitty. The issue is, can we fit the player we want into the kitty that we have right now? I think that is the concept. Yeah. But anyway, those are the transfer rumors that we have around. We'll just keep everyone up to speed as we move along, as things unfold. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Inka. Do we have a donkey of the week that is not the referees?
Broke Baka. Broke Baka. And I'm sorry.
Okay.
Aki, I'm sorry. This you love these guys. I like them too. I don't love them as much as you guys. But this is just, if you hear, this is classic, typical Fawaraja. This is what we Yorubas call Fawaraja. You can, come on, guys. Come on, guys. Yeah. Barcelona, spend what you earn and stop doing all this financial gymnastic, selling your seats, selling the stadium to Spotify, fixing new camp, and all this nonsense that y'all are doing. I don't get it. And also, stop giving people useless contracts. Stop. Everything you read out, Akin, it's irritating. It's irritating. And Sufati. Who did you? Frankie de Jong. Come on.
37 million euros. If that's true,
it is true. Why do you think he's not leaving?
Crazy.
Why do you think he's not thinking of leaving? If he's injured, he doesn't care. I'll stay here. I play for Barca. The prestige is there. Even if I don't play for Barca, national team, I don't have a problem. I always play. They will always call me up. I'm a good player, right? He's not interested. Who is going to take him off Barca? Think about it. Don't you think his agent has shipped him around? Once they hear how much he's earning, they are like, hell no, we're not touching you with the longest spoon. We're leaving you where you are.
That's real.
That's what's going on. That's what's going on. So Barca, you are my donkey of the week, the first of the year. Please don't do that again. But I know you will. I know you people will. Like Nico said, Laporte is a serial liar, as it is. Yeah. But
ouch.
It is what it is.
We have come to the end of our show. You want to take us out?
We did well with time, right?
We did well with time.
I timed those. We just clocked 1 hour 30 minutes. So
yeah, I saw it.
Which is fantastic. So
long may that continue.
Long may that continue. So before I talk about the usual guys, supporters, and everything, I didn't want to lead with this because it's a bit emotional for me. So I lost my dad a couple of years back. Today would have been his 83rd birthday.
Ouch. Yeah,
today would have been his 83rd birthday. If anybody knows me and my brothers, our love for sports is actually from my dad. He played and he loves football. Yeah, he loves football, loves watching football. I have so many footballing stories with my dad. It's unbelievable. Well, I'm 83 today. He was a good man, right? So I still pray for him every day. Continue to rest in peace. May the Almighty forgive his sins. And he was a good man. So me being able to do this, talk about this, me talking about football matches when I was 4 or 5 years old, and if people are wondering how do you know about this? It's because of the family that I grew up into. We are a sporting family, all of us, and that is from the influence of my dad. And those that know also, my senior brother, like Aki mentioned earlier on, he's in our secondary school. He's the best player that ever came out of our secondary school. Yeah,
this is true.
And he's the best player in my family, but he got that from my dad also, who was also a good footballer. So continue to rest in peace, Dad. And anyway, I just said I should do that.
Very well said, Yinka. R.I.P. Pops. And yeah, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy posthumous birthday. So on that note, guys, please support this our hustle. Like we said, the 50th episode is coming, right? Nothing major. It's just going to be a giveaway, which Akin doesn't know about yet, but he's still going to pay for it. He's still going to pay for it. But thank you for the support, guys. Thanks for sharing. We've seen an uptick in our subscription numbers again, but we still want to get better. Like I say, this is baby steps. These are baby steps, and we will continue to take them. And one day we will run, we will fly, we'll soar. But for now, we need your support, guys. Like, tell your friends about us. Engage us, send us questions. We've not had questions in a while. Send us questions, and just tell us what we need to talk about. And we're also thinking of ways to to spice up things, to make things better. And you'll be seeing that as time evolves. So happy New Year, everyone! And I wish that our 2025, that the best of our 2024 it's not going to be as good as the worst of our 2025. I hope I said that well. I think I did.
Yeah, I think I get what you're saying. Amen. So I would say I'll start with Yinka. Yinka, share our stuff on Facebook. I just did that today.
Okay.
I know Facebook gets a bad rap because it's not as shiny as other stuff now, but there's still a ton of people on it. So share on Facebook and tell people to go to YouTube and subscribe. And we have come to the end of our episode, and we will see you on episode 46. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Yinka, and